I just worry that Bishop Barron, all respect to Bishop Barron, love him. I think he's doing some of the best work in the whole church. So this is all out of a place of charity and trust in what Word on Fire is doing. But he's got the, it's like you're sending the valedictorian to go sit with the jocks.
Sure.
You know?
You don't think Father Mike is the jock in this analogy?
No, Father Mike is the theater kid, unfortunately.
That's true. He's just ripped.
He's just a ripped theater kid. He's
fortunate.
Excellent. He's the star of the show. He's the star of the musical. So he is, everyone respects him. Same with the valedictorian. But it's just we're sending the wrong people into the wrong arenas. Welcome to The Crunch, the only podcast you can donate to and it counts as almsgiving. It's your boy Ethan.
And I'm Patrick. And I was saying before the show, I've been listening to James McCann. James McCann, fabulous guest, was also on Kill Tony the same week as our podcast, which is just a dumb career move for him.
The best media rollout that you can do.
The best media rollout possible. And so I was listening to all of his Kill Tony appearances, and it was hard for me to listen to. I've never listened to Kill Tony before this, because I think the times that I've tried has been too difficult, because I used to do open mics, and they were all an exercise in humiliation. It's an exercise in secondhand embarrassment is what it is. It's very tough.
It's a tough watch, especially if you don't get good guests. Like even the episode that James was on recently, they had the most bucket pulls that they've ever had, because people were so bad. Like it was, and they just went turbo mode, and they just kept drawing people, and people just kept bombing. And after their first line, they would just hit the button and they'd have to go, and they'd pull someone else out. It was tough to watch. Those people were not funny.
I have noticed, I think what people see stand-up comedy, and this was me. I saw stand-up comedy when I was in high school, and I was like, this is so easy. Yeah. I could do this. It's just talking on stage. Yeah. And then I tried it, and it was awful.
It's hard.
Luckily, I bombed in front of my choir teacher and my drama teacher for a talent show audition. Thankfully, that was my first experience doing stand-up. Was in front of two people, and the theater teacher was like, "Patrick, here's how you write a joke." It was very kind of him to do. But then I did these open mics, and guys would come up, and they would just like start talking about sex. First thing, that's what you do. You talk about sex, talk about pornography, talk about drugs and drinking too much, and it's all shock value. And some of it's like they're laughing at their own jokes. It's very tough. But what I've noticed is, and I think we should explore this a little bit, is that the biggest indicator of an amateur is that when they come across a really good premise, they don't explore it enough. I saw this I see like in Shane and James. I've been listening to a lot of them recently because they often come in pairs. When they come up with a funny premise, they really explore it. They explore it for about like 5 to 10 minutes, and they bring it back up and up and up. And there's so much funniness in like the idea of starting the cafe for kids with Down syndrome. You know, he just really goes into that and explores it. There's a lot of jokes in I look like I have Down syndrome. You know, there's so much in the Down, but like the problem is that amateur, they would like they'd make a joke about Down syndrome. It would say they'd use the word retarded. They would say something offensive, and they'd move on to the next thing. And it's too much. It's not cohesive.
Right. It's not even really a joke. It's just like shocking thing one, shocking thing two, and people laugh because that's your response to a surprise or discomfort. Either way, it's like something surprising happens, and you either laugh or have some type of disgust response, which are also the two responses I get when I walk into a room most of the time.
But I went to a gala last weekend, and my wife showed up late. She was putting the kids to bed, and
I went to a straight last weekend.
Nice, real homies go to the straight la.
Real homos go to the gala.
I'm married, but even though I'm married to a woman, I went to a bila. I'm still bila though. It's valid.
I don't know what that means, but I'm happy for you.
I'm making fun of people who call themselves bisexual, even though they're married to a member of the opposite.
That is it is crazy to like be married or in a relationship with someone of the opposite gender and like having kids actively and then still
be like, I'm bisexual. It's like stolen valor, in my opinion.
It just means it's like you're just ready to cheat at any time. That's what that means to me.
That means you can't have any friends, because why would your husband trust you around anybody? You know,
I actively am looking at all times for other romantic partners. That's what that means to me.
I don't.
Anyway.
Anyway, so we show up late. She shows up late to the gala, and I tell her, I'm like, I'm thinking about doing comedy again. And she was like, she looked at my whiskey glass. She's like, how many have you had? Which is funnier than anything I could ever come up with. So I stopped thinking about comedy.
I think you could do very well in Provo at comedy.
In Provo?
That's a quote from Ocean's 11. But I think you should do comedy. Why not? I mean, who's the funniest guy in Melbourne, Florida? It's like some guy that goes around to elementary schools and does music, and then you probably are like the two funniest guys.
There's like some band director is just killing it. He's just making the kids chuckle. Mm-hmm. The funniest people in any small town the size of mine. Although we're not that small, we were recently featured in a viral video in a Waffle House.
Is that why people were tagging you in it? Is because it was in Melbourne? The Snapchat I thought people were just saying Florida. That like you used to work at a breakfast establishment. Here's something else going on at a breakfast establishment.
No, Nick was like, Patrick, so many people have sent me this video. It's a bunch of people in a Waffle House. It must be 3:00 in the morning, and they're singing.
Yeah. They're rapping to like Future, right, or something.
It was Kodak Black.
Kodak Black. Ryan, splice in the video. You know the one we're talking about.
And that's what I'm about to say. Everyone was saying all of the words.
Everyone was hitting the hard R.
And I posted. I was like, in my town, everyone can say it.
And isn't that what we should strive for?
Melbourne is a post-racial paradise. There's no racism here. Okay, we are a beautiful blend of we are the dream that Martin Luther King Jr. had. It was Melbourne, Florida, ladies and gentlemen. You can come down here. But anyway, in any small town like mine, the funniest person in the town is the high school teacher. Is a high school teacher because they work all their material on the toughest audience in the world, and they're like in a mid-market public school, so they're not dealing with like gang violence, and they're also not dealing with like Harvard prep. So it's just like middle of the road. You're gonna be the best you got is an engineer at SpaceX. Like that's what you're shooting for. So not a lot of pressure, but it's in terms of education, but a lot of time to work on your tight five.
I'm thinking of the opposite of the Waffle House where everybody's saying the N-word, and I'm just thinking it's like a group of mixed black people and white people at the Whole Foods, and they're all yelling honky.
They're all singing Sweet Caroline.
Yeah. But somehow it's Sweet Cracker Line. I don't know what they're up to. Maybe I should become a high school teacher.
I have a question that might launch this podcast into a different direction.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yesterday, my wife turned to me and she said, "Patrick, do you like women?"
Whoa.
She was like, "Do you hate?"
A lot of people have been DMing me on Twitter this exact same question about you.
Are you gay?
Phoebe's not the first. No.
Not in that
are you sexist?
Patrick are you sexist?
Yeah.
Wait, have people been DMing you this question about me?
People DM me questions about you all the live long day.
So people have been calling me sexist.
But I don't divulge. I say maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Talk to my lawyer is what I say every single time. So I don't give up the game.
The reason why my wife asked that was because I made a joke about how people in general need that little bridle thing from the Middle Ages where they like clamp your mouth shut. I was like, more people need this.
What do you mean from the middle? The horses have that now. What do you mean from the Middle Ages?
No, like they showed like a torture device, not a torture, but like a punishment device that they put it on people's heads and they they padlock it shut, and they apparently would march people through the streets. Now, I doubt every archaeologist now because they just find artifacts and they're like, oh, this must be what it was used for. They fill in a lot of blanks. Like how many records do we have of women being marched through the streets regularly with this bridle on?
Not many.
But so what I said was, like, it's very likely that this device was created for prisoners who wouldn't stop biting other prisoners. You know what I mean? Like that's possibly what it was for. But there was a Zach D Films video about it, and it was like, here's how it worked. It would clamp people shut, and they couldn't open their mouths. And I was like, some of y'all need this. But the video was about a woman, and so I think Phoebe thought that I was saying women need this. So I think a lot of if people think that I'm sexist, it may be because of awkward misunderstandings of a joke that I'm making.
Yeah, it's kind of, in a lot of ways, Jigsaw
you were
was a visionary.
kidding about people DMing you about this, right? Like that was a joke. That was
Pardon?
a joke, right?
Was that?
It wasn't? Oh, this is bad.
What's going on?
Not good. You can't be sexist. That's like worse than being racist.
No,
like,
nobody
will give you a
DMs.
pass.
Nobody DMs me about you. I mean, maybe one time someone who had a failed podcast on a short-lived Catholic comedy network DM'd me.
Sure.
But that's neither here nor there. I handled it. I handled it with aplomb. Might I add.
That's helpful. It didn't work. She still hates us.
What can you do? It's the opposite of a jigsaw trap, because his traps are like, let's see how wide we can split this jaw open.
Split them out, yeah.
let's open it up this way. But then the Middle Ages, they were like, we have no need for this. Let's just shut it down.
I think we should bring that back. Actually, I think that if someone is a scold or a gossip, we should punish them by keeping their mouth closed.
Yeah, that we need to have
more.
Their tongue. With Project 2025 is we're bringing back the medieval punishments, and not like I don't want to put someone under the rack. I don't want to draw and quarter anybody. I don't want to do the thumb screws or any of that stuff. It's just like, is there a way to get someone to stop talking?
Is there a way to like take someone's phone away for a bit?
Yeah. Can we put their phone? Can we drop their phone in maybe a lagoon or a bog, such that it's irrecoverable?
Yeah, you could fix a lagoon phone, but a bog phone is absolutely gone.
It's gunked up to heavens.
It's gunked up. You can't go into a bog because of the curse.
You don't want to get the bog curse.
Yeah, dude. You don't go into the bog. But yeah, no, I'm glad that the people calling me sexist are fake. It's very important to not be sexist nowadays.
Yeah, nobody's accusing you of being sexist. Is it really just because you posted about that one thing and was like, this is good? People shouldn't talk? Or are there other deep-seated issues in your marriage where your wife is like, do you hate me?
No, I don't think my wife thinks that I hate her. I think that good. I'll often make jokes about. So what I told Phoebe was, I was like, look, there are certain types of men that suck, and we talk about those men, right?
We do.
And when we do that, we go, oh, these men are the worst. Like these dude bros, like these F boys, we say that. And when I talk, I'll say certain things like these types of women. I may call them scolds.
Oh.
I may call them gossips.
Mm-hmm.
I very rarely use words that bring into question their sexual ethic. I rarely do. I don't do that. Sure. Because
not very often.
I did that one time in high school, and it very hurt one of my friends. And I think about it often. It's one of those things, So I don't do that anymore. But there are certain types of women that irk me, and it's related to my wounds, my church trauma, that I demand that everyone think about all the time.
I know. Well, we can't say anything because it might upset Patrick's trauma. I had a conversation with a woman today that really set me on edge.
Was it your wife?
No.
Okay, good.
My wife never sets me on edge. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm often setting my wife on edge. With my erratic decision making. I signed up for my parish's Eucharistic adoration ministry, right?
Oh, nice.
I signed up for an hour because it's Lent. I was like, all right, I'll pitch in,
Yeah.
It's actually right after this podcast, 10 p.m. Thursday night.
Oh, so we got to get out of here.
Well, we've got plenty of time. It's only 8 for me, so we've got.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Thanks, Ben Franklin. I sign up, and this woman texts me. No, it's you have to text her. You have to text this woman. Hey, I want to sign up for the 10 p.m. slot on Thursday. Here's my email, because that's what it said to do in the bulletin. So I did that, And then she said, and then I didn't hear from her for like 3 days. And I was like, hey, my slot's coming up, or no, she messaged me and she was like, we have to have an orientation call. That's what it was. We have to have the orientation call. It's going to be 15 minutes. And I was like, I don't need to be orientated.
I know how to
Eucharistic
go in.
adoration. I know what to do. And she's like, I'll call you this evening. No call. I read an entire science fiction book. She didn't call me.
Wow.
214 pages. Blew through
Nice.
it in a couple hours. No call from this woman. So I text her today. I'm like, hey, missed your call last night. Try to give her the benefit of the doubt. Missed your call last night. My adoration hours today. I really just need the code to get in. All I care about is I don't have the code. I need the code.
It's the sign of the cross, or it's 0000.
No, it's something different. It's I'm not going to say it, but it's.
I was gonna. I almost got you.
It almost got me to divulge. So she's like, oh, I was like, you can just text me what I need to know to get in. Like, please, I don't need to have a call with you. She calls me at like 6 o'clock, which is like bed. Everyone's screaming.
Yeah.
It's, but I have to take it because I need to know the code, right? So I put Peter in his room and he's howling, and Emma's got Henry and he's howling, and I'm on the phone with this woman. And she's like, have you been to Eucharistic adoration before? And I was like, yeah, actually hundreds of times. And she's like, oh, great. And then she just starts explaining. So the hour is yours. You can do whatever you can read. You can sit and we don't talk. And there's no food. And we're actually thinking about replacing the carpets with hardwood floor because we've had so many people come in and stain. And there's these special stoles that you wear that show that you're kind of a part of the ministry. And there's no dues or anything. We're not like a regular club. We're a ministry. So you don't have to pay any money. And in case there's a tornado, which there's never been, but if there is a tornado, here's what you do. And you're going to go down these stairs. And it was so much. And this woman is great. She was doing her job. I'm not faulting her for doing her job as the volunteer coordinator for Eucharistic adoration. But the gravitas, which with the logistics were explained, was so boomer-esque. It was like the importance of the ministry. We talked about adoration. We talked about Jesus this much. The rest of the call was about how important it is to sign in on the sheet. And it's like that.
Oh man. Yeah.
Why are you spending 10 minutes explaining to me how to sign? So you go in and then you turn, and there's a little button and it'll have the date on there. And then next to your name, you'll initial, and you're going to make sure the date matches the day that it is today. And I'm like, do you think this is my first time on planet Earth doing a thing? Like it was actually, and it also just upset me from a business perspective. It's like your onboarding process is too long. This should be an email. This doesn't need a call. You're wasting your employees' precious time. I need to write something to the parish about that, but that's neither here nor there. But that's the only type of woman that really gets under my skin is the.
To be fair though,
yeah,
she's onboarding old people, presumably.
That's true.
And
yeah,
it may not be their first day on Earth, but it is their first day typing in a code. They've never had to memorize 4 numbers before. Their grandson does it for them. Grandson knows all the passwords. Mm-hmm. Grandson goes away to college. They're not going to be able to get into their email.
There's no your Capital One account is lost forever at that point.
I had to one of my
Samuel L.
clients,
Jackson is stuck in there, and we can't get him out.
One of my clients was a very old man who lived in an assisted living facility, and I actually got his email back for him, and he had been emailing and calling his granddaughter like for months trying to get her to do it, and she's like a freshman in college. I'm like, she's trying to enjoy college. She doesn't need to take care of her grandpa. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here. I'll help him sign into his Apple ID. It's okay.
Nice.
I was like, yeah, they think but yeah. Anyway, that's not.
No, this woman was great.
That kind of
it was
woman
just,
gets under your skin.
She gets under my skin. It was also just like I had no way to. I didn't want to interrupt her, but it was like bedtime, and I didn't know what all she was going to say. So I was like, if there is like a legitimate, and you have to do this, or, like, I didn't know if there was going to be some special thing.
Kind of important,
It's kind of important, but So I didn't want to interrupt her, and then she finally like paused after the phone. It had been 15 minutes, and I was like, "Thank you. Is there anything else that's crucial?" And she was like, "I was like, my kid. I got to put my kid to bed, please." And she was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you're good. Yeah, I've gone through everything." And I was like, "What were you going to continue talking about then?" She was about to gear up for another 10 minutes. Whew, we're fine. Everything's fine. Yeah. Boomers run the church, and that's okay. Okay. Eventually, it's going to be me on the other side of that phone. Except I'm going to record a video one time, and I'm going to email it, and it's going to be automatically triggered when someone signs up on our website. Man. It's going to be different.
Dude, Loom videos.
Dude, I love a Loom. I made a Loom for a lady. Oh my gosh.
I don't know why I haven't been doing this more, but I've been doing. I did a Loom sales pitch for the magazine. And I sent it to, and it was like a little, you can actually do it now where it's customized, where you like add in the customer's name into a video that already exists. And I sent it, I actually made a huge sale from just sending the Loom video. And I was like, this might be
absolute cinema.
And then I just never did it again.
Patrick, know,
right? But I'm thinking about making it my cold email. So when someone says, "Hey, can you send me an email?" I send them the Loom video.
Nice.
That way it's like, I do the magazine pitch in the email, and it's like, it's not, it's like, here's the meeting up to a certain point. And it's like, hey,
and there's a bit more skin in the game because there's an implicit, like when someone gets a cold email, it's like, I just assume that you copied and pasted this and switched out my name. But if you're like, here's a video I recorded for you about XYZ business, and it's like, you should have like a clock with the date and time behind you. That like proves.
I have today's newspaper in front of me. Yeah. Hello, my name is Patrick Nevy. This is a new video. Here's the Florida Today from this Sunday, because it's only a weekly paper now.
It'd be so funny to do that. It's just like national tragedy. I don't know why the second tower falls, and it's like, "Hi, welcome to my Loom video."
And Strangler strikes again. That's what.
Ukraine annexed by Russia. Hi, we'd like to talk about a quarter-page ad in my newspaper.
Is print dead? No, but that guy was. Moving on.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's funny. My mom did keep the 9/11 newspaper, so I do whenever I go home and we look through which is awesome. It's great because I can look back and I can see it. It's very historic. She didn't keep like my, my art or anything, but she kept
9/11 newspaper.
She kept Bin Laden's art in a way, which I find to be frustrating.
I met someone who was in 9/11 today.
Yeah?
One of the victims, to clarify. One of the victims of 9/11.
Did you go to a cemetery?
No.
What do you mean one of the victim? You met a victim of 9/11. What is that mean?
Yeah, he was injured. He was a victim.
Okay, but he's alive.
Yeah, he's a survivor, I guess you could say in that.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a victim of 9/11, a survivor of 9/11. But anyway, we were talking.
In a way, we're all victims of 9/11.
That's true.
Because of the Transportation Security Administration.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I bring it up is because he listens to the podcast now.
Oh, welcome to the program.
We were gonna meet, and he Googled me. It was like a sales meeting, and he Googled me before the meeting, and he listened to an episode, and I was like,
no.
I know.
Oh dear.
I lost the sale. No, I'm just kidding. I lost the sale. Bummer. I did actually think about that after I joined my networking group. They were trying to find my email, and they like looked me up. They just Googled Pat Nevy Decided Excellence, and like all of my stuff popped up, like my Twitter, the Instagram. Luckily, they were very kind about it. Some of them even follow me now. But anyway, he was just kind of talking. He was like, "Yeah, like we were talking about insurance. He's in insurance. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not insurable. My kidneys don't work." And I was like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah, 9/11." I was like, "Oh, yeah, what?" Just get a conversation, right? It's like, "Oh, yeah, like obviously,
yeah, well, of course."
Said it was like 9/11. I was like, "Yeah, 9/11. Yeah, my kidneys also after 9/11 were a little weird, And he was like, "I was in the South Tower," and I was like, "Oh my god, holy
that's
cow,
crazy!"
That's great. He was there for both attacks, and my uncle was Port Authority cop, which is right next to the World Trade Center. He was at the Battery Park, and he like ran up to help people, and so I was like, my uncle was there, no way, And but my uncle was also in the. Did you know they bombed the World Trade Center?
With a
10
truck.
years earlier. Yeah. So
Yeah,
my uncle was there
1991.
for. All right, wait, maybe he wasn't there. Maybe he went golfing. I forget. There's one story where my uncle has a 9/11 story, but about the first attack. Like he skipped his wife's anniversary to go on a golf trip, so he wasn't there that day.
His wife's anniversary.
His anniversary. Sorry, his wife let him. His wife's anniversary with another person.
I skipped my wife's husband's anniversary to be
His
here.
wife was bi, even though she was married to a man, and she had an anniversary with another.
Yeah.
Sorry, Aunt Terry.
She would swing both ways, but he was only swinging a driver.
swinging
You
one
know what
way.
I'm saying? Yeah.
I went to a golf course today, and I went to the pro shop, and I was like, I gotta get into golfing, man.
Dude, golf is so fun, but I have no money.
I know.
And so I just can't. It's so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's even at a cheap public course. It's like $50 for 9 holes.
I know.
Cart rental,
Yeah.
the 4 beers, the lawyer's
For a cigar.
fees. When the cart girl sues you, it's all very expensive.
Amazing. We moved our BNI meeting to a golf course, and so I went and toured it today because I have to actually I'm the president, so I got to make the decision. I didn't know that, and so I toured it, and I was like, oh gosh, I'm gonna be here every week. I'm gonna get into golf, aren't I?
Yeah, you got to get into a little golf. But that's another thing. This is another way our friendship can grow because we could go golf together, man.
I think that'd be fun.
We could expense it.
That's true. When I visited you, we expensed a lot of things because I was a donor.
Yeah. We got to tune into the bonus podcast because Patrick and I have a very serious revenue problem with the French Catholic podcast at the moment.
I was like, Phoebe, we have a cash flow issue. She's like, what? I was like, a cash flow
I said the
issue? What does
exact
that
same
mean?
thing to Emma. I was like, we've got a cash flow issue.
And she's like, oh,
She's
what
like,
does that mean? And I was like, that means we have no money.
I'm getting emails every day about things that are not being paid for.
A poor guy. This guy. I had this call with this guy who was like, he does podcast PR, and I was talking to him, and we were talking about what he got this cool thing where it's like it's free for the first. It's $1 for the first month, basically.
Yeah.
It's a 6-month agreement, but it's canceled within 30 days. But the thing is, like, your first month is $1, but you got to cancel within 30 days. So your next month, you're gonna pay for 1 month. You know, so that was the thing. It's gonna cost a couple $1,000s or something. Yeah. And I had to tell you, he was like, hey, are we still like? Did you talk to your co-host? And I was like, no, I didn't.
No.
But you see, we don't have any money, so
we could have money.
We could.
It's just we have the idea of money nearby to us.
We unfortunately have a very ad-free show in that we don't have any host-read ads at the moment.
At the moment, we're going to have one
advertise on our
that's
show.
Starting up soon. So there's one starting up soon in this month, but it's
that's good,
which will be good. I also one thing, if we're just doing a quick comment on the state of the podcast, we crossed 1,000 subscribers on YouTube today.
I saw that. That's so exciting.
Because you've been plugging the YouTube channel on your X account, which has been very steady drip of subscribers to YouTube,
I also
which is
went
great.
on a YouTube show yesterday. Did you see that?
What in the dang heck? You never tell me anything. Ever since the divorce.
I went on a Catholic Take with this guy on the iCatholic radio network, Joe McLean. He's cool. It's a very trad
State of the Union and the State of the Church.
We
didn't even talk about Trump's speech yet. We got so much to talk about.
I didn't listen to Trump's speech, but I heard it was great.
This is a 2-hour program. Oh my goodness. You didn't have anything going on today.
This was yesterday, but I did it. It was at 7:30 in the morning, so I had a full work day.
Gotcha.
I was only on for an hour 20. So my segment from the radio show is a separate video.
Patrick Nevy is a gift to the church.
Wow, such a kind thing to say. Not very many comments, positive or negative, about me in the comments.
Yeah, they're just whatever comments, but I will comment positively about you.
That's very kind of you.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, so I think that helped a little bit. But
you've been on the circuit. So you didn't watch Trump's speech?
I didn't. I meant to listen to a recap podcast on it.
Dude, It was awesome.
I heard a lot of good things about it. I saw the opinion polls on CBS afterwards, and I was like, dang.
Mm-hmm.
I told my wife, I was like, that 75% of the country approved of the speech. She was like, oh, wow. I was like, Phoebe, I don't think you understand. 75% of the country doesn't even like root for the same team in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like 75% of the country doesn't even drink the same soda. You know, it's like it's crazy. 75% of people agreeing on. I was like, oh my gosh, we might unify the country.
We might.
The country.
We've got some work to do.
Together.
I think the country might be coming together with most of the country is going to agree on a much more. I think the Overton window is coming back to the center of acceptable opinions. Trump massively just grabbed it and yanked it and pulled it this way. But like even the Gavin Newsom conversation
when you're
with
famous,
Charlie
they
Kirk
let you
today,
do it.
They do. Gavin Newsom was with Charlie Kirk today on Gavin Newsom's podcast, aka his audition for 2028 presidency.
Yeah.
He was talking about how he's against men being in women's sports. About how
Gavin
he's
Newsom.
Gavin Newsom.
Wow.
About how he. That was the big one that I was like, that's a huge shift. There's a few other things that it's like very clearly different than what he said before. And so I don't think the whole country is going to agree on things. I think the whole country is agreeing that we all need to be a bit more realistic about what we think about things. I
think there's a lot of the kids the boys and girls sports thing is a big obvious like hold on. I was with everyone with the do whatever you want as long as it doesn't, because it's a clear violation of the liberal principle of do whatever you want as long as it doesn't affect other people. And the beating the girl in the head with the volleyball is clearly affecting other people. I did hear recaps about like who Trump invited, and Bishop Barron was there, which is cool. Yeah,
Bishop Barron. Apparently, the Democrats were not participating in the liturgy of democracy. Did you hear about that?
Is that what Bishop Barron said?
That's a phrase that Bishop Barron used, is that the Democrats, with their lack of applause for, the boy who had cancer and the gay fella that was there. I don't know who all was there, but the people you're supposed to clap for when they bring them up, they didn't clap. And so Bishop Barron was like, you're not participating in the liturgy of democracy, which I don't know what that means. That's not a term that I've come across in the past. And I just wonder why Bishop Barron is saying things like liturgy of democracy when he could be doing anything else.
I don't know why he's saying things that clearly are not going to be understood well by liberals or by Catholics. I don't know who would get what liturgy of democracy means. I kind of understand what he means.
This is the first time I'm going to quote tweet Mike Lewis with the worst person just made a great point meme. Because he expressed the same thing. It's like he said, I was today years old when I first heard someone call the State of the Union address the liturgy of democracy. It's fair because it doesn't. I have a lot of thoughts. I don't know if that's the best way for Catholics to interact with what's going on in the political sphere.
I understand kind of what he means. Mike Lewis blocked me, so I won't say it. But
no, it's all good.
Which is fine. It's fine.
The name Mike Lewis matters to nobody except the people on Catholic X. So it's irrelevant.
It is a bummer because sometimes he talks about important things. I don't get to see his bad take. But the liturgy of democracy, I assume, is just like the traditions of democracy, which I think might be a easier and more understandable way to say it. I love Bishop Barron. I do think he's too smart for his own good.
I think he's too smart for the average American. I think beauty is great because even a completely stupid person can look at the Sistine Chapel and say,
whoa,
that's cool, Yeah. But the problem with like truth is that you have to, if you get too much in the sauce, truth, then you lose a lot of people.
I think Bishop. A lot of people are like, oh, Bishop Barron is the new Fulton Sheen. I think that's incorrect. I think we're still waiting.
No,
because have you seen Bishop Barron? Bishop Barron talks. Hans Urs von Balthasar made a great point. And Fulton Sheen is like, truth is found in the heart of Jesus Christ. He's like very like extreme and like intense. He's like, life is worth living. You know, he's like very like, you know, people are like, oh my gosh, okay, awesome. We'll vote for Kennedy. I promise. You know, it's very intense. Fulton Sheen is at like a different level in terms of he's an entertainer. You know, he's like he has that, and he's authentic too. He's not superficial. Bishop Barron is a purebred intellectual. He's just
which is good. It's good to have him with the Jordan Petersons and the R.C. Sproul's.
I think it's really important to have
him there, but I don't know if he should be like the guy that how much better would it be if we had not Father Mike and not the other priest that does tours with his guitar, but like some other type of.
What are you talking about?
The long hair, wears chacos.
Tanner
David
Kalina
Michael Moses.
David Michael Moses.
Yeah. There's got to be someone else that we can put forth as the. I just worry that Bishop Barron. All respect to Bishop Barron. Love him. I think he's doing some of the best work in the whole church. So this is all out of a place of charity and trust in what Word on Fire is doing. But he's got the. It's like you're sending the valedictorian to go sit with the jocks.
Sure.
You know.
You don't think Father Mike is the jock in this analogy?
No. Father Mike is the theater kid. Unfortunately.
That's true. He's just ripped.
He's just a ripped theater kid. He's
fortunate.
Excellent. He's the star of the show. He's the star of the musical. So he is. Everyone respects him. Same with the valedictorian. But it's just we're sending the wrong people into the wrong arenas.
Sure.
You know.
Yes.
J.D. Vance. Maybe he's not really a Catholic commentator or in the Catholic world really in any way. So there's like this big hole. Maybe Matt Walsh fills it. He doesn't really, from like a true faith perspective. You know,
I mean, I don't question his faith, but I think
I don't question his faith, but he's not like
he's not palatable.
His primary goal is not evangelization. I would say.
Yes.
From what he does.
Him and Michael Knowles, those two, I think they're two sides of the same coin. One's more
right.
They're the sponge. They're the rough and the squishy side of the sponge, you know. And it's based on the hair on their face, you know.
Yeah, I wonder who that because there's this hole in between Matt Walsh and Father Mike and Bishop Barron where it's like we've got. I don't know. This is great opportunity in the country where things are changing and turning around, and finally the people who hold up their little signs at the speeches are not. We don't care about them anymore because we're turning things around in our country. For the.
A majority of the country would put their politics aside to stand up and cheer for a kid with cancer who just wants to be a police officer. A majority of Americans would put aside their political differences too. But it's like it's clear that right now the Democrats who hold power in Washington, their strategy is to divide the country to get more power. Like that's the strategy. And I don't think people want that. And I think the crazy news story is that the big Black Lives Matter mural is getting painted over in Washington D.C. and like nobody cares.
Oh, nice.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
No, I mean I'm just now hearing about it now.
And people aren't up in arms about it because I think people are even moving away from that. And it's cool because if you look at the two major slogans, you and I talked about this on the podcast a while back, like the two flags, right? It's like Make America Great Again, Black Lives Matter. Those were the two flags that were there in 2016, and everyone was mad about either one of them or both. And when you look at both of those flags at face value, those are both things that everyone should agree with. Make America great,
and Black Lives Matter.
But when you look at the conservative versus the liberal response to the flags, it's the liberal response was America is never great. It's like exclusive of the Republican flag. But the Republican response to the liberal flag was all lives matter. It was inclusive of the liberal position. It was, and I think that's what's changed now. Is like now some people said all lives matter to mean Black lives don't matter. I think
maybe.
But like it doesn't.
I'm sure there are people out there that say things like white lives matter only. There are people out there who say stuff like that. But for the most part,
people,
I would say 95%, nay, 98% of people who say all lives matter genuinely mean they do believe in that kind of liberal equality virtue.
Yeah.
You know, of everyone is equal, and so we should care about everybody equally.
Yeah. There was a movie recently. It was the Please Don't Destroy guys from Saturday Night Live. They made a movie. It's actually not that bad. But they run into it's like the only funny things that short videos that SNL has put out recently are these three guys, basically like YouTubers, and they're doing sketch comedy. But anyway, so they did a movie, and they run into this group of people that have been living in the woods for a decade and a half, and they're like, they're basically a cult, and they're like, and our motto is all lives matter, and they're all like, oh you can't say that, and they're like, why? It's true. And they're like, I mean, yeah, but like you can't, like it means something different now. And they're like, what could it possibly mean? And I was like, that's a great example of like if someone went into the woods and came out 5 years later, be like, make America great again, black, all lives, this is great, I love this. People be like, hey, you can't say that, that's racist. You're like, how is it racist to say make America great again? You know, that's where I think that's where we're shifting now. So people are like, oh wait, you know, these politically charged slogans are actually unifying. Turns out Donald Trump wasn't Hitler. He was in office for 4 years, and we all survived, so he'll probably survive again.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, the Trump Hitler thing is so funny because it's like
it's a well that never runs dry.
We literally elected Hitler, and then we all wore pink to his speech in front of Congress to protest him. It's like, well, the other thing that gets me is that what I see is people citing the Lauren Boebert and the Marjorie Taylor Greene outburst from Biden's State of the Union. And they're like, this is such a double standard. And it's like, Biden could have thrown them out of the room in the same way that Mike Johnson did, but the Nancy Pelosi didn't. So it's like, you're trying to point out hypocrisy, but you were in power. You had the chance to say, leave. You could have done it, and you didn't. Honestly, you didn't do it. So it's this like very funny self-own that people keep doing, where it's like, but your people interrupted the speech, and it's like, yeah, and you let them. Like why did you let them do that? You were in charge of the bailiff. Why did you not tell him to get out his billy stick?
Start beating people.
Yeah, it's very funny to me. Very interesting to see what's going to occur. The stock market is down, which is bad for my portfolio. But everything else seems to be trending up. If only I had some cash. I refer you to the cash flow problems that we are experiencing.
Can you borrow money from the bank to put into the stock market?
Yeah, well, I have a better idea. I'll borrow money from other people to put into the stock market. And then when I have to pay those people back, I'll just borrow more money from a different group of people. And then I'll just keep doing that.
Ironically, that is how crypto works.
Really?
I think so.
Buy Madoff coin.
Dude, that would be a funny meme coin.
Madoff coin would be great.
It's funny that meme coins have become a thing, wherein there's like a website for pumping and dumping crypto, where where everyone kind of understands they're going to lose all their money.
It's the scene from Wolf of Wall Street, but he's talking about like, I got the greatest coin, John. It's called the Pui's coin.
The Pui's coin?
The Pui's coin.
What I love about that meme, the please say thank you, Mr. Zawinski, is that he did.
He did say thank you.
Which is exactly what happened. I've told this story on the podcast before when I made a customer at Bob Evans say please.
Yeah.
She did. She did say please. Like, what do you tell people to say please? They'll do it. They say thank you.
Yeah.
They'll say thank you. A customer said, "Go get me my spoon," and I said, "Ma'am, she'd been needling me the whole time, and I was like, "Ma'am, I'm gonna need you to say please," and I was a legend. My boss told me never do it again. He was like, "Awesome." I went to him like, "I'm sorry, I'll pay for her meal. You could take it out of my tips. I'm
sorry, Mr. Evans."
Mr. Evans. His name was also Patrick.
Yeah, Mr. Evans was my father. You can call me Bob. It's crazy that everyone lost their minds, and then Zelensky came back and then just was like, I'll take the deal.
He can't keep getting away with it. It's
that tweet from 2015 where it's like, how's Trump going to get out of this? And then
nevertheless,
nevertheless,
alas, or something. It's very...
Yeah, he always wriggles his way out of those jams. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. It's Lent. That's another big thing. You got any updates on your fasting, prayer, and almsgiving commitments that you've made before God?
No, I don't have any updates. I'm holding everything close to the vest.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Powerful.
Are you holding?
I didn't go to Ash Wednesday Mass.
Me either. I didn't have time.
Sorry. Throw me in Catholic jail. I didn't say I feel uncomfortable sharing my ashes, but I'm going to post a selfie about it. Stupid.
I did see some of that.
But can I just talk about this last 5 minutes of podcast here? Lent pisses me off because people just make stuff up. They're just making stuff up. I'm seeing people on LinkedIn like, what are you doing for fasting this year? I'm doing the carnivore diet. Shut up. That's not a fast. You can't do that.
You can't do a carnivore.
I saw someone say, for almsgiving this year, I'm going to call my mom. What are we doing? Okay, for this year, for almsgiving, I'm going to water my plants. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put them out in the sun. What is the point?
If you don't know what you're doing for Lent yet, check the link in our description or go to thecrunchcast.com/holyhabits. We got to set that up. Remind me to set that up. Crunchcast.com/holyhabits.
Did you write something? This is a partner. This the Holy Habits people.
Yeah, this is our friend Drago who is working on an app called Holy Habits.
Oh, I need to respond to his DM.
Dude, it's so cool. It's great.
He asked me to go on a space with him, and I haven't responded because I was at a
funeral. You should do that. Holy Habits. Holy Habits is fantastic. Yeah. I've been using it for a couple of months, about 6 months, and it's great. It's a Catholic habit tracker, but it's not just like a habit tracker. You take a quiz when you sign up, and it tells you your root sin. So definitely passcode lock the app. It tells you your root sin and then what different practices and disciplines you can use to kind of conquer that sin. And it'll give you 3 or 4, I think, habits to do throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, if you have SMS set up, it works. There's an interface through your texting. It'll just text you, hey, like respond 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you do this? Did you do this? And you can just respond. So it'll actually track. So you don't have to remember to open the app. That's my biggest problem with habit tracking apps is like I have to have the habit to open the app. I don't like that. And so you can add your own habits. It's great. And they're launching a new spiritual direction feature for Lent where you can do like spiritual guidance based on what different spirituality you like Carmelite, I almost said Muslim, Jesuit. What's the difference these days? But yeah, it is an AI based tool. So be careful, but it's like if you're not into that, it's all good. But it's like, most spiritual direction is giving the same advice over and over again. And sometimes it's good to have someone else tell you what you already know,
This year for almsgiving, I'm going to fill up my bird feeder every day. This year for Lent, I'm going to light more candles around the house and have some more tea.
Our generation
insane.
Our generation was destroyed by the don't just give up chocolate movement and the Life Team.
You shouldn't just give things up. You should do something too. Shut up.
Prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. It's all
you pray, you fast, which means, by the way, eating less food. There's no way to get around this. You can't give up chocolate and say that you're fasting. Fasting means for everybody, every American between the ages of 14 and 65 in this gosh darn country, 60, I don't know, whatever the range is.
Yeah.
I trust what the church says. You should just go 1 day a week. It doesn't have to be every day. 1 day a week. Don't eat. Go 24 hours without eating. But I have a medical, whatever. I know, it's hard. Figure it out. I'm breastfeeding. I got to feed my children.
Fine.
Even more so. No, I'm kidding. Those kids need to fast too. No, I'm joking. Obviously, there's exemptions, but if like you have no other extenuating circumstances, if the only thing is that I think it might be really hard for me, Just eat less food. There's no way you can't. This is not a time to try keto. This is not a time to try out a new to do the Atkins diet. This is not a time to do whole. This is not Whole 40. It's not. It is the time to, instead of eating
Mark Wahlberg's
food,
40-day challenge, and I will.
It's Mark Wahlberg's 40-day challenge, and it's you're going to get up at 2 a.m. and you're not going to eat until dinner. You need to do it. Almsgiving. You need to give money away to the church or the poor. Mm-hmm. There, you can't. Posting memes about the Catholic Church is not almsgiving.
Correct.
You cannot taking. Well, I guess you could take some close to
Let me
Goodwill.
take your extreme opinion and bring it down to earth here and explain.
This is I'm on Earth right now. It's everybody else that's off in space.
Let me explain why it's true. Is that prayer, fasting, and almsgiving are the three opposites of lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, and pride of life. It's the concupiscence things that make us fall. Our desire for safety with money, our desire for comfort with food, and our desire to worship ourselves. So these three things, getting rid of food, getting rid of money, praying to God, that's what prayer, fasting, and almsgiving is. And so I learned this a while ago. Like, I'm gonna give up Netflix for Lent. I'm gonna give up candy for Lent. I'm gonna give up social media. I also think giving up social media for Lent is lame.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Yes, you can.
I think if you're gonna give up social media for Lent, you should just give it up forever. If it's that distracting for you, like, oh, this is like a real distraction for me, you should either figure that out. You should give it up permanently. But you don't, like, your body doesn't have a natural desire to tweet. And so giving up social media will just be like, oh, okay, I just don't do social media anymore. And instead I just go on the news.
Yeah.
How do I occupy my time?
I'm going to delete the apps off my phone. Okay, so you're going to look at it on your laptop instead of on your phone?
That is funny.
How does that solve
not getting
the
rid
problem?
of it, but doing... Yeah, no, like, your body has a natural desire for food. So
I'm going to log into X on my Samsung fridge, and I'm only going to use it there.
I'm going to log into X through the Discord mobile browser instead of through my phone. Which
for Lent, for Lent, I'm giving up playing Doodle Jump on my Nissan Altima's touchsure
while driving.
While driving, I'm only going to do it while we're parked.
But if you are giving up social media for Lent, and you're the one that's that we're making fun of, go to thecrunchcast.com/brick. Or go to brick.app/crunch. I forget. We have a discount code with Brick. You can brick your phone. Use code Crunch. We need money, so go use some of our affiliates.
Go use our affiliates. You could also go to patreon.com/thecrunch. If you like our show, if you're one of our new subscribers that pushed us over 1,000 subscribers and you're here right now enjoying this program, we're so glad you're here. This is it. Sorry. But if you like it and you want to give alms to us, go to patreon.com/thecrunch. $5 a month helps me sleep at night. $10 a month gets you the bonus podcast. So
$100 a month gets you a DM from us. Someone gave $100 a month.
Wait, really? Recently?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't remember who it was, but I gotta give that guy a call.
$250 a month. There's little I wouldn't do for you.
That gets you an 8th page ad in my magazine.
That's true. If you want to sponsor the show, talk to me privately. Send me a DM on X, the Everything app. We're going to go do the bonus show. I appreciate you being here. Patrick, you got anything else for him?
I don't hate women, okay? I love my wife. That's the only woman that I like.
Gay.
And my daughter. Sorry, forgot about her. My wife. I was like, no, I like women. I like women. I like you. I like my mom. I started talking about the people, like my friends' wives, and I was like, oh yeah, and Josie.
Oh, and my child who is a woman. It's because you don't think of your daughter as a woman. She's never. Just like she's like. You're funny, man. All right, on to the bonus. Bye, everybody.